Hello again, my listeners, and welcome back to Veteran Mountain Man's channel here. And I want to talk about something that just came across. I was listening to Styx, Hex, and Hammer 666 talk about the Democratic Party loss in a special election in the state of Kansas for the state legislature. And he talks about how the Democrats hit full-on meltdown when the GOP took the seat and retained control of the Kansas state legislature. And I'll be the first to admit, Kansas is most definitively a conservative state. It is very, very conservative. However, something I wanted to bring up is the historical shifting and alterations of the American parties in the American political system as it stands. I mean, the modern Democrat Party, the Democratic National Committee Party, has only been around since about Andrew Jackson, people, which was after the War of 1812. Now, at that time, you had the Whigs as well, and the Whigs died out, and the modern Republican Party kind of started up right around the time of Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln becoming president. He was the first real Republican president under the modern Republican Committee, government of the people. And even then, you had Theodore Roosevelt, who founded the Bull Moose Party and was a kind of progressive Republican, if you want to call him that. So there has always been a shifting of Republican parties and Democrat parties. And the idea that here in the United States our parties are static and don't shift their dynamics fairly regularly is kind of a misnomer. I mean, if you look at political legislation and political stances and even the presidential citation pages in the libraries of the presidents, which every president after they leave office has a library dedicated to them in the state of their residency that will house all of their documents and all of their decisions and all of their writings and all of their legislation and their memoirs and their dissertations and their public speeches, etc., etc., etc. These are expenses that the U.S. population has been doing for decades. These records are publicly accessible. You can go online to the internet and get them. In fact, I'm going to include a link down below to the Library of the Presidents, so you can go and look this stuff up if you want to. Parties shift. And our parties in the United States have shifted drastically and wildly over and over again. At a period of time, right around the turn of the century, the Republican Party was an extreme progressive party. It is not the same kind of Republican Party that you see today. In the 1970s and early 80s, a lot of the Republican Party was extremely religious, far more so than there is today, which was part of the shift for the Bill Clinton era and the reduction of the mandatory religiosity. It was also one of the reasons that the election of President Reagan was such a surprise, because President Reagan ran as more of a secular conservative than a religious right conservative. And if he had ran as a religious right conservative, he never would have been elected. He never would have been elected. So the parties shift. And one of the things that the Democrat Party is going through right now is it's going through a difficulty adjusting. You have got 4 or 5 different directions all vying for control of the Democrat Party. You've got the greenies, the degrowth Democrats, the extreme environmentalists that want to implement a no people in the environment whatsoever. Man and environment have to be kept separate for the environment to be static. You've got the SJWs and cultural Marxists, which include your extreme feminists. These people want to shift from a democratic republic or a representative republic to a much more democratic socialistic country concept. They want to fundamentally change the government through activism. Well, then you've also got your classic blue-collar, hard-working, trade school Democrats, your blue dog Democrats, they're just not the same as these social justice warriors that are extreme communists and these, degrowthers and even the globalist faction, because you've also got the globalist faction in the Democrat Party, which includes people like President Obama and Secretary of State Clinton and President Bill Clinton. These people want a one world order. And I mean, you even saw a little bit of that with President George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush. They were far more globalist Republicans. And the Republican Party is fighting to stop globalism in its party ranks right now because globalism fundamentally doesn't work. It is more of a collectivistic concept of governance, and the Republicans are rejecting it because it does not benefit the country. It only benefits the globe. And so you're basically robbing yourself to lift people up in Africa instead of providing fundamental charity to those that you wish to help up. So it's completely antithetical to the conservative concept and is primarily being rejected, and we are trying to repress it and push it out of our policies and out of our party, but it keeps rearing its ugly head. And this is one of the things I wanted to bring forward to you, my listeners. The party shift. Don't go off party loyalty. Find your positions, hold your positions, attempt to sway your politicians through rhetoric, through debate, through opinion, through methods of discussion. Change minds, change hearts. Don't just ad hom, don't become frustrated, and don't expect everything to go your way. Well, I want to thank you all again for joining me today. Once again, like and subscribe down below if you're watching me on YouTube. If you're watching me on VidMe, please go ahead and follow, upvote, and you know what? Leave comments. If you didn't like what I said, you're still free to subscribe or follow and leave comments. And hey, I respond to comments. So if you really want more clarification, leave the comment. I will discuss it with you. You can also send me messages or join me at minds.com/veteran mountain man. I am also over on Patreon, and I have Patreon exclusive content over there. That's patreon.com/veteran mountain man. Thank you all, and have yourself a good day.